I'm so honored to have you here today for our Zoom interview. I know we've been communicating through email, but just to formally introduce myself, my name is Jessica Smith. I'm a student at CSUN, and I'm working for Professor Kim Young's Los Angeles Public Poetry and Prose project. And would you just like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Laura Warrell, and I'm the author of Sweet, Soft, Plenty Rhythm.
To get into your debut novel, what is something that you would like to say about the work that maybe you haven't gone to previously in other interviews?
Well, that's a good question. I've talked about it a lot. It's going to be hard for me to come up with a question that I haven't been asked. I'm basically at the end of the journey with this book. I've spent the whole year promoting it. I've gone to book festivals. I've gone to schools. I'm going to see you shortly, and there are other events that I'll be doing. But for the most part, I'm at the end of the promotions of this book. And so there are some conclusions that I've kind of come up with that aren't so much about maybe the book, but just reading and readers. I've had a lot of people, or I'll put it this way. The book is provocative. The character of Circus Palmer, who is a playboy, he's a womanizer. You might think he's toxic. You might fall in love with him. I've talked to somebody who hated him and threw the book across the room. I literally just saw a review of the book today from a reader who said she loved him and sympathized with him. He's a challenging character. And the women in the book, because that's really the focus, their relationship with him and what they're going to do in the face of it, don't always make choices that are empowering. They also are, to me, compelling and exciting and dynamic and interesting women and strong women ultimately, and make interesting choices. And so what's been interesting to me is realizing that as a writer, and this is also true as a reader, this is true of the television shows and the movies I like, stories in general that I like stories that, in my view, represent, reflect the world and human beings and human life and the human condition as it is, even
Absolutely.
when it's dark sometimes, even when it's ugly and messy sometimes. And I think that the triumphs of the spirit, right, the empowerment that we ultimately hope characters find at the end of a story is so much more gratifying when they go through those challenges and those dark periods and the mess that we all often make of our lives, or at least certain situations. I kind of feel like my book and my writing in general appeals to the reader who is looking for that kind of experience with the book. If you're looking for every horrible mistake that a person makes to be, punished, and that's not the kind of writer I am. I have compassion for people. And I recognize that even in the difficult moments, there's a humanity to be discovered.
Beautifully put.
Thank
I feel
you.
like when it comes to writing, some people stay in the box and some people really have to go outside of the box. And that comes with like uncomfortable characters that are
Mm-hmm.
controversial. There's so many fantastic women in this novel that, Circus gets intertwined with. What was it like kind of writing these characters? Did you make character sheets for them?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find like bits of yourself inside of these women, or did you like find inspirations from media? Like, what was that like just making the woman of this story?
I really love music, and music gets me in the mood. I sort of feel my characters in the music. And so very often what I do is I have playlists that's filled with songs that either remind me of the characters, like they have the same vibe or energy of the characters, or they're songs that I think the characters like. I also do really, really long, very extensive sort of character um, studies. These are long documents that have everything from, you know, um, the characters' hobbies and job and birthday and relationship with parents to, their fears and their secrets and what happened to them in high school and, all kinds of stuff. And it's not just details, that I will need, like I need to know how long her hair is, but it's things that really help me understand who they are. And
Right.
very often, um, ideas will come in that I can actually put into the story. So I do that as well. And then there are things I don't necessarily do a vision board or anything, but I do sort of have a, this is the style of that character, and clothes that the person likes and places they like to shop. And, character is really important to me. And I really want the characters to come across like not only full-fledged, really fleshed out individuals, but really specific, unique people that feel like I know that person. And so I do a lot of work around that. And, I think about the way they talk. Sometimes there are pieces, that was part of your question too, from actual people. In this particular book, there weren't really any people from my actual life who ended up in the book.
Yeah.
Though there were pieces. And I think as far as me, there's a little bit of me in everyone, including Circus. I understand the desire to prioritize your art and your craft above all else, and to deal with the consequences of that decision like him. I'm for sure a little bit of Coco, his 14-year-old daughter, who wishes that she had more of a relationship with him. I'm Pia, his ex-wife, who I'm not really Pia very much, but a little bit of me. I've been in that experience of like, hey, I really want more out of this relationship, and I'm pining away for someone and lying to myself about what the future may hold. I'm a little bit of, you probably haven't gotten to Josephine yet, but I'm a little bit of Josephine who maybe, this is getting a little much for me, and I'm getting to the end of my rope. And then, Angela, who's, not as invested in him and can't quite figure out what she's doing. So I really wanted to make sure all of the women felt distinctive and unique and original, and they all had different reasons for being in the relationship with him, what they sought from him, how they felt about him. So I hope that when readers read the book, they feel like these are some interesting women and they feel pretty different.